Well, good morning. So, I got up this morning and thought I would do a video about stroke, frustration, confusion, and anxiety. When you get your stroke book, also known as the user's manual for the brain that tried to kill you, um, it's going to indicate that you need to spend some time simplifying your life for a little bit of time. You need to avoid frustration, all forms therein, in whatever manner that may present. You need to avoid sources of confusion, um, and you need to avoid anxiety. If you don't avoid those items, you could end up having a panic attack. Been there, done that, don't want to do that again. So let's just talk about some ways you can avoid confusion, frustration, and then anxiety. Well, confusion. The biggest problem you're going to have is, provided you're not stuttering and people are trying to finish your sentences for you, um, is the people around you and the way they communicate. Um, I had to give my parents rules. Uh, Not that I wanted to, but I needed to. Their style of communication was just a bit too hectic, chaotic at times. Um, and I needed to give them the rules because the way they communicated was frustrating and confusing for me at times. So, one, the people around you are going to have to accept the fact that for maybe the first 3 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, however long it takes, you are kind of in control of how people talk and deal with you. And it's not that you're trying to be a dick, it's you need that to make your brain work. So, for those of you that are around those that have had a stroke, please understand this. You need to be direct in your communication. It needs to be very clear, very concise, and very concrete. Don't go, hey, what's that? While driving through downtown Toronto, through the 9 billion, hey, what's that? And then try to clarify it with a, hey, the yellow thing. Yeah, thanks, Mom. um, Another thing, conversations need to be congruent. At least if you're going to start talking about one thing, you can't change the subject matter of what you're discussing mid-sentence because I got lost more than once. Um, so another thing, this is again from my personal experience, um, is I couldn't handle, my brain just couldn't deal with uh, sources of conversation coming from more than one direction. Like, so for example, someone seated behind me and someone seated beside me while in a car. Restaurants with a lot of music that was too loud or too much ambient and transient noise, couldn't deal with it. My brain would just go on fire. So you, as being the recent stroke assaulter, will have to modify how you do things because of, you might be a bit overwhelmed. You might become a bit overstimulated, thereby amplifying the confusion and creating frustration and anxiety. Frustration, ask for help, right? It's not a case of, how do I open this bag of chips? I just can't open it. I don't want it to explode on the floor. It's a case of certain things you just won't be able to do. You're going to find yourself with the attention span of, oh, squirrel. You're going to get frustrated about yourself. You're going to want to be able to do things, and you either can't, or you can't focus, or you just can't deal with how to do that thing. Like, multi-step activities for me can be a bit difficult. One thing I'm trying to do to get through that is cooking. I love to cook. Not so much of a baker, but I love to cook. So I'm slowly piecing through recipes because there are multi-steps to them, and I've got to pay attention to what you're doing as not to create mistakes. And the last one, anxiety. You need to do everything you can do. The people around you need everything they can do to assist you, to participate in making sure that you do not become confused easily. You do not become frustrated easily, and thereby you avoid anxiety. Because if you get too anxious, you could have a panic attack. If you get too anxious, you're not going to recover. So, for those of you that have recently had a stroke, just be mindful. You need to be in the driver's seat for a while, and you need to make sure the people around you that care about you understand that this is something you need for you, something that you need to do just to maintain a little bit of control and let your brain kind of not get overwhelmed. They need to understand that this is a temporary thing. And if they really care, they will listen. And if they don't, cut them loose. For those of you that want to help those people around you that have recently had a stroke, just be clear in your communication. Be concise in your communication. Be concrete. And please, for the love of God, be congruent. Right? Other people may have different scenarios that will present themselves other than what I had. And I'm not going to say that I'm the cookie cutter of people that have had a stroke. In no way. But what I'm going to say is this. It's your stroke. It's your journey. You need to do what's right for you. You need to be your own advocate, be your own defender, be the person that makes sure that the decisions that are being made about you, for you, are being made by you and not by people around you. Lastly, if either you, yourself, or someone you really cannot stand looks like they're suffering from the signs or symptoms of a stroke, stuttering, slurred speech, facial droop, inability to smile properly, inability to raise both arms properly, general weakness or weakness on one side, please immediately put that person in a position of comfort. Dial 911. Something so simple can save a life.